So today I'm going to just talk about each one of my fire alarms and the rarity of them in my area. So these are all my alarms right here. Those three over there I will be selling. The Genesis and the Toy Now 3 I will be doing a trade with Frank Darty, and that one I'm going to sell on eBay. So yeah. But these ones are the ones I'm keeping, and I'll just kind of show you around each one of them, and I'll just tell you how rare they are in my area. So, this first one is my Hochiki RSGT bar. These are pretty common in my area, but the ones in my area are actually dual action, and they're made by Radionics. So, yeah. Yes, you usually see these in like Walmart. You usually see these in like Walmart and places like that. If they haven't remodeled yet. Like a lot of times I see these and they replaced them for Bosch T-bars. I don't know how it's pronounced, but yeah. I'm not gonna pull them in this video, by the way. Next we have the Wheelock NS. Now, these are quite common in my area as well. You don't really see them as much a lot in like stores, like a local Smith's Food and Drug has these in it, and Wheelock AS's, which is that alarm right there, and I'll get to that in just a second. And these are these are mostly common in schools. Like my school actually has this alarm, so yeah. Yeah, my school has this alarm, and also a couple other schools in my area. Well, not the ones I'm zoned for, but they have this alarm as well. Next alarm we're going to get into is the Wheelock AS. Now, these two are basically brothers, kind of. These are basically the same alarm. The only difference is that they look different, and they have and this one here has a higher pitch. So yeah. Now this one is actually the outdoor alarm at my school, and they also have these at Smith's as well. And they also have exceeders at Smith's, but I don't have an exceeder. So yeah, these are also pretty common, about the same level of rarity as these, which these are actually a little bit more common than these in my area particularly. So yeah. So yeah, that's about it for the AS. And then the MT. Now these are not as common as these two, but yeah, like I don't really see this as much. I usually see them as like outdoor alarms, but yeah, I don't really see these as much as these two. This is kind of a bit not as common in my area. So yeah. So yeah, I usually see like the first generation ones, which they might actually be EHS EL ones. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So the next pull station we're gonna get into is the Siemens MS501. Now this particular one is broken, so yeah, I can't even use this. But these are not very common at all in my area. Like, I went to a few places and I saw like the single action version, but like I never really see the dual action version. So in my area, these are not very common at all. Like, you'll be surprised, like, a lot of these alarms are not common at all in my area, but they're very common in other places. Gentex Commander 3. Now, Gentex Commander 3s are pretty common in my area. Like, the normal ones, like the red and white ones. I'm not the blue ones. The blue ones, actually, I see a lot, but they're used for emergency exit alarms. But the normal fire alarm version is very common in my area. Well, pretty common. For the most part, like I see it quite a lot. Please ignore the background noises. I see it like pretty commonly, in my area for the most part. So yeah. Next we have the Gentex SHG. Now these are not very common at all in my area. Like, I went to a haircut place and I saw these, And also I went into a school and I saw these, and those are like the only two places I remember seeing this alarm in. So yeah. I think maybe a few other schools in my area might have this, like ones that are built in like the late 90s. So yeah. So yeah, please ignore the background noises. Okay, so next we have the system sensor spectral advance. Now these are extremely common in my area. Like, you see these in almost every single building in my area, like literally. If it's not this, then it's an AS, but you literally see this in almost every building you walk into in my area. Almost every building in my area. So yeah, because this is like the most like common alarm ever, like in like yeah. So the next one we're going to get into is the System Sensor MA series. Now the System Sensor masses are not very common in my area at all, but like my church has them as the outdoor alarm. So yeah, my church has them as outdoor alarms, and yeah, but the one in my church is red and it's a horn strobe. So yeah, but these are just not very common at all in my area. So yeah, I mean I see them every once in a while, but not very much. Like, yeah. And I saw them as the outdoor alarm of a portable on that same school I went into that I saw the SAGGs in, but it was the outdoor alarm on the portable. I swear I saw one of these. Might have been wrong, but yeah. Next is the Edwards Integrity. Now these are not too common in my area. I see these a lot as outdoor alarms for places. Now my church should have one of these as the outdoor alarm, but actually has a mask. Like, I don't really know why, but usually if it's a typical EST system, it would be Genesis is on the inside and Integrity is on the outside. So yeah. Yeah, I see these around sometimes as outdoor alarms, but not very much. Next, the BNG1RS, Notifier BNG1RS, or yeah. Now these are not very common in my area, but in other parts of town they are pretty common. Like sometimes my old church had the silver version of this and 34Ts. And a school like downtown has a combination of the silver one and 34Ts. And I've also driven past a few apartment complexes and I saw a combination of these, which were silver, and 34Ts. So a pretty common setup is these and Willock 34Ts in my area. It's not very common, but like if you see 34Ts, usually these will be the pole stations. Next, we have the Simplex 29-198-33. Now these are very rare in my area. Like, you never ever see these in my area. Like, never. I saw them maybe one time. Like, literally one time, and that's the only time I saw these in my area. But these alarms are not common at all in my area. It was at a neighborhood like golf club house thing, and I saw these in it. But they probably remodeled it and replaced them all for advances, and I hate when they do that, when they replace the old alarms for dumb spectral advances. Next we have the Simplex 29-198-38. Now these are a little bit common in my area, but not too much. Like, usually you'll see the FOS version with a strobe going down, like right here. You see that a lot. Like, you see that like as outdoor alarms in a lot of places, and sometimes in like gas stations and stuff. And also on some schools in my area, like Giovanni F2007, if you're watching this video, you see these like some really like older schools that were built in like the 80s and 90s have these as outdoor alarms, but they've replaced all the indoor alarms with like newer things like NS's and stuff. Like, I actually drove past a school one time and I saw like 9840s as outdoor alarms, and then the indoor ones are NS's. Which the reason I didn't go into the school, but the reason why how I know is because I went on Facebook and looked it up, and I saw pictures of the school, and I saw like NS's in the background. Now, the most rarest alarm that you almost never, ever, 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 ever see in my area is the 4050. Like, literally, where I live, there are, like, none of these. Like, I am almost, like, I am about 95% sure that there are, like, almost there are like no buildings in my area that have these. Like literally in the city I live in, there's literally none of these. Like literally none. Like I mean none. There's like literally none of these like in my area. I mean like way across town there might be some really old apartment complexes that have like something like this, but for all I know, these are extremely, 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 extremely rare in my area. Well, anyways, that is about it. This is probably a very long video, but anyways, that is about it.